We officially have 92 days until the start of the 2024-25 college basketball season. And at the number 92 team in the country, we have the Georgetown Hoyas. So, yeah, definitely an intriguing team for a few reasons that we will get into right after I plug Hoop Scoop Media. So, yeah, just a reminder, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, as I've been saying every episode. But yeah, it really helps us, really helps you guys stay connected to us. And yeah, also assuming you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications so you don't miss a day of the top 100 countdown. But yeah, number 92, Georgetown. Yeah, also follow Luke at College Hoops Outlet on Instagram, CHO Talk Sports on Twitter. And yeah, he came prepared this episode with the Georgetown jersey.
Yes, sir. Allen Iverson on the back.
Yep. That's a good jersey to have. They definitely could use someone of his caliber this year because it's it's been a struggle. Obviously been a struggle at Georgetown going back to Patrick Ewing coaching days. Those were not great, but then they made a big splash last year hiring Ed Cooley, and year one did not work out whatsoever. Went 9-23 overall, just 2-18 in conference play, with both wins coming over DePaul. So they basically didn't win any games. Yeah, it was pretty bad. 192nd in Ken Palm and 321st in the Ken Palm defensive rating, which is very bad. So yeah, so what are your thoughts after year one?
Um, it was definitely not a good year, and it's hard for me to right back into what Ed Cooley's doing at Georgetown after just a disastrous first year, in my opinion. They have a lot of new pieces, but it's not something I think right away is gonna mesh very well.
Yes, definitely not quite as bad of a year as we were expecting Ed Cooley to have. In his career, he's never had like that good of a first year wherever he's been at his new jobs. This is his third coaching job after Providence and Fairfield. But yeah, I mean, this should have been different with how much NIL he has, how attractive Georgetown should be as a program for recruits, which was one like the main things why people thought they'd be back, but they really haven't been able to get the caliber and just quantity of guys that we thought. So yeah, really tough year one. Georgetown did lose a lot of pieces from last year, but as we talked about yesterday with Arizona State, like when you're so bad, like you don't really care who you lose. It's because like those guys were the same guys that lost a bunch of games. So the piece they did lose though, Dontre Styles, he is off to NC State. Supreme Cook, big man there, off to Oregon. Jay Heath exhausts his eligibility. Rowan Brumbaugh transferred to Tulane. Ish Massoud exhausts his eligibility. Wayne Bristol transferred to Hampton. And a few end of the bench guys. Cam Cody exhausts his eligibility. And Ryan Mutombo transferred to Georgia Tech. But yeah, none of those guys are really huge losses. A few of them were solid role players, but again, the team was so bad that you don't really care who you lost. They did get a few guys back though. The big name is Jaden Epps. He averaged over 18 points, 4 assists per game last year. What are your thoughts on Epps? I mean, he's very talented, but I feel like he's kind of controversial as well.
Yeah, his numbers were pretty empty last season. Put him
Hmm.
19, 3, and 4, but 39% shooter from the field, just over 30% from three. I think some of the guys around him now can give him um, better looks overall and chances for those numbers to go up. But I don't. I'm not the biggest fan of his, and I mean the winning basketball wasn't there last year.
Yes, I would agree. Definitely as far as long yeah, and he's 2 years over his career. I've never really seen him play winning basketball necessarily. He's obviously very talented. I don't think you can dispute that. He had some huge games, 7 games of 30 or more points that season. So yeah, can really score, really good passer as well. But yeah, even at Illinois, his freshman season where they were a solid team, a tournament team. I never really got the vibe that he was really like impacting the team success that much. I feel like even though he was talented, he was producing on the court was almost causing more issues than helping. And yeah, he's also pretty bad on defense, which was a big issue for Georgetown, as previously mentioned. So I don't love Epps, but you can't really argue with the talent level. Um, and we'll see how year two at Georgetown goes. But yes, definitely not sure if he's a winning player, but again, so talented. Can definitely take a chance on year two with hopefully some new pieces that connect better. But the only other guy returning that played last year was Drew Fielder, who was actually like not that bad. Um, his efficiency numbers, analytical numbers are actually pretty good. He was pretty efficient when he played, can space the floor for his size, not bad defensively compared to the rest of the team at least. And yeah, I feel like he's a guy that could break out that not a lot of people are talking about.
Yeah, he should have the starting center role,
We'll see.
from what I projected, or at least a very good chance at taking it.
He can probably
And
play a lot of the four as well,
yeah,
maybe.
there's a lot of those front court guys can kind of go either way, but I think a sophomore year leap's necessary if this team wants to accomplish anything. Averaged 5-3 last year. Hope to get those numbers near 8-6, 10-8.
Yes, not crazy numbers, but yeah, analytical numbers were in his favor despite not being the case for most other members of the team. The other guy coming back, Drew McKenna, was a reclass freshman last year and redshirted, so he's basically just a class of 2024 member, but has been with the team, so that could be an advantage, maybe more comfortable. Maybe we'll get some playing time right away that he would not have if he had stayed in that 2024 class. So we will see what happens with him, but. Then Ed Cooley also at the portal, and he did get some big names. So definitely not taking away from those few additions, but considering how much money he has, or at least is speculated to have, I think the overall portal class was extremely underwhelming.
Yeah, I think Malik Mack, the Harvard transfer, is really the only guy
Yes.
that you look at and say he used his money there. A couple of
Yeah.
other guys, debatable, I guess, but
PV is
Mac
good.
PV solid, but I don't know,
Yeah.
not a star guy. But
Yeah, for
I
sure.
like what Mac provides as a point guard. Great passer. Um, he can kind of do it all. Averaged 17, 4, and 5 last year at Harvard, and missed, I think, portions of the middle of the season with
Yes,
an
he did
injury.
have mono, I believe.
Mono. Yeah.
So not
So not
not
an injury.
typical injury, no. But yeah, Mac was really good as a freshman, one of the best freshmen in the country, and he really took off from day one. And just like some of his first few games of his college career, had 32 against UMass, 27 against Indiana. Those both games happened within the first 20 days of the season. So yeah, he's very talented, can score, can pass, can create for himself and others, but I don't know how Mac and Epps are going to be. Like that could be good or it could be a disaster.
Yeah, I think Mac can help Epps, but I don't know how much Epps helps Mac, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, I could see that. Definitely defensively that's going to be bad, I think.
Yeah, brutal.
I don't know how it's going to look because they're both like ball dominant guys, but I think they're both good passers too, so they maybe could take like a little bit of efficiency jump, maybe getting some open shots, and not having to create everything themselves. But I feel like this isn't gonna work out. I don't know.
And the added bonus with Mac, as we mentioned, just about every video is the 3 years of eligibility
Yes,
left.
3 years here. He was so good as a freshman, so proven 3 years of eligibility, which we don't see a lot of. Um, but yeah, Micah Peavy mentioned him a little bit earlier. I actually really like Peavy. I think he's just like a perfect glue guy, like the premium glue guy that you can get. Obviously, he is a glue guy. So that's what you're getting out of him. But yeah, can guard about any position defensively. Just can be is really it's all over the court on that end. And I think also had his best offensive season this year. Was the best shooting he'd been, the best passing he's had over his 4 years. So, um, yeah, I really like him as a glue guy connection piece. definitely can't hate on that pickup, but Mac and Peavy were really the only guys that have proven to be contributors that Cooley was able to bring in through the portal, and it should not be the case when the roster is iffy as it is and the money is as big as it is.
Yeah, I will have to say I do like PV. He does everything for you, and I mean that's what you're saying with what a glue guy provides. And he plays winning basketball. I think he makes winning plays. So that's something that this team desperately needs, and it's just interesting to see if that can kind of wear off to the rest of the roster.
Yes. Yeah, but Ed Cooley did pick up a few other transfers with 3 years of eligibility left. Some less proven guys, though. One is Curtis Williams from Louisville. Obviously, Louisville, they have been a train wreck the past few years under Kenny Payne. And Williams was not great this year as a freshman. He was actually pretty bad. But, I mean, kind of give him a little bit of benefit of a doubt because I think he's not like a terrible player. I think the system just didn't help him at all. Um, he played a solid amount, but like his freshman year, he was like a shooter who couldn't really shoot.
Yeah, I feel like you're not probably learning as much as a freshman should when you're under Kenny Payne. So I think this year you'll see more of a learning experience and maybe a higher learning curve for Williams, and then be able to show something in the future.
Yes, the appeal to him is as a shooter, but the shots did not fall under 30% from three. So yeah, that's the shots need to fall. But I kind of liked him last year going into Louisville, so we'll see.
There's also not many shots to take for him this year. I feel like with Mac and Epps.
Yeah, he might not get the ball at all with those two guys. But yeah, the other transfer, Jordan Burks, coming in from Kentucky after spending his freshman season there, did not play too much, so we don't really have as good of a sense of what he can bring, but he's decently athletic, pretty physical, a four. So yeah, he was like okay when he played, but didn't really play hardly at all. So um 3 years of eligibility, good swing for the future, I think.
Yeah, and if Calipari believes in you at Kentucky, I feel like you might as well take the shot
Yes.
if you're Ed Cooley.
Yeah, definitely a worthwhile swing with his eligibility and intrigue, but yeah, overall, I think the transfer class is extremely underwhelming. I don't think there's really another way to put it. Just like the overall, like Mac and PV are great. The other two guys or whatever eligibility, you take them, but it just seems very underwhelming considering the resources and yeah.
Yeah, you're supposed to have this big draw as being Ed Cooley and the Georgetown program, but really not much to show for it. And
Yeah,
a pretty
like
thin roster. I think the roster only has 10 or 11 guys on it
yes,
unofficially.
one guy that they probably will get soon, which we will talk about. But yeah, they Cooley does have a good high school class coming in. 3 commits for sure as of right now. Probably a fourth, but 3 right now. Thomas Sorber is definitely the guy that's on a lot of like impact freshman lists and stuff like that. One of the guys that could potentially contend for a starting position, or at least he's going to see a lot of minutes regardless if he officially starts the games or not. Physical inside big who should be good on both ends, and yeah, more upside there to tap into as well. But yeah, I think he's the one that yeah, I mean a lot of people have been really praising him this offseason.
Yeah,
Um,
from what I saw, kind of just your classic big guy, low post player, kind of a throwback big, if you call it that. Good touch around the basket.
yes. Another commit they got, Kayvon Mulready. More of a guard who should be another guy that should really play both ends. Can really get out in transition, plays defense, plays with a lot of energy and physicality. So another guy that could definitely seize some minutes right away. The third high school commit, Caleb Williams, a local 3-star, a little bit lower ranked, but someone who should be able to play inside and out. And um, yeah. And any thoughts on those two?
I think Mulready has a spot in the rotation, and depending how he transitions to college, I think he could have a pretty big role as probably their best defender in the backcourt if you count PB. I don't know what position, but
Yeah.
um, stronger guard, great defender. Hopefully that can translate to the Big East for Georgetown, and definitely a switch up from Mac, Epps, and Williams.
Yes, definitely does give some of that defensive power that they don't have any of. So that's definitely good. Another guy they're probably gonna end up with soon is Julius Halafuna. I don't know. Halafona. I do not know how to pronounce that, but he's a 7 foot big guy from New Zealand, and he is not officially committed to Georgetown. He probably maybe will be committed by the time that this video goes live, but even if he doesn't, strong speculation that he will end up there as long as Ed Cooley doesn't blow this at the last minute. Um, got a bunch of predictions from everyone, so we're just assuming that he will end up there. And yeah, 7 foot 290. He's a huge guy. And yeah, pretty well regarded in recruiting circles, strong basketball IQ, good touch around the rim, and yeah, I think he's a starting big man if they get him. I would think. Would you agree with
Yeah,
that?
I think he definitely places himself as a chance to start,
Yeah.
but 3 months away from the start of the season, you wonder if that kind of slows his transition into the team.
Yes, I believe he is also a reclass, so he like should be 2025, but he's also 7 foot 290. I think I have like a little less concern about someone like that reclassing than like a point guard.
Yeah.
So yeah. Any other thoughts on the roster?
Overall, I don't think I have much. I think Micah Peavy is a pretty big piece. We covered him a lot though. The guy that hopefully can hold this team all together, but I don't know if it all will come together.
Yes. I have them latched in the Big East right now. Where do you have them?
Yeah, I put them 11th. I like DePaul's upside slightly more. I think Holtman first year, I haven't seen him fail yet at DePaul. I've seen him fail at Ohio State, obviously, but Cooley disappointing year at Georgetown. I'd rather buy into Chris Holtman.
Yes, very close for me as well, but I do have them latched. Um, yeah, not great situation in Georgetown right now. Just I mean, it's been said multiple times, but with how much money he has, the guys he's getting, its overall quantity is pretty underwhelming. Like I don't,
Yeah,
yeah,
I do like what there is to build off of in future
yeah.
years, but a lot of guys with 3 or 4 years of eligibility that should play big minutes this year.
Yes, the Mac edition was great, but I don't know how you don't get a big man in a portal. Like that's I don't know. I
Yeah,
feel like
now
it.
you're gonna trust three or four freshmen and two young sophomores.
Yes, I yeah. Cooley should have been able to get a big man for sure. But yeah, I'm seeing lots. I think there's a few teams they could reasonably pass over if things go well. I think they have a few decently talented pieces and such as Mac and Apps. Don't know how those are gonna fit, but overall, yeah, another disappointing offseason for Georgetown. And I think this year can still be a step in the right direction, though, as long as they're like somewhat competitive, because they were not competitive at all last year.
Yeah, I mean, you have them place 92nd, I
Yes,
believe, and that's already 100 spots better than their Ken Palm
yes,
rank last year. So
yes. So if they end up 92nd, as I am predicting them to be, probably will not happen exactly 92nd. I think I had them like around the spot last year too. But yeah, anyway, if this were to end up like, it's at least a step in the right direction. If they're 92nd, they're going to win a handful of conference games. They're going to be competitive. And I think coming off last year, that's really just what you want, just to like be competitive.
yeah, I think I wrote in my written article for Georgetown that even though they'd finished last, I think they win at least twice as many Big East games as last year. I think 4 or 5 range.
Yes, they won't have those free wins over DePaul anymore, though. They could still
Yeah,
beat them, definitely. But
I could definitely see a split.
We will see how that goes. But yeah, 92 days until college basketball. Georgetown, number 92 team in our predicted top 100 countdown. Yeah, make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications so you don't miss any more days of the top 100 countdown. Number 91 will be releasing tomorrow. Make sure to stay tuned for that.